The word clean on a beauty product means nothing. Legally, regulatorily, scientifically, nothing. No government agency in the United States, the European Union, or any major cosmetic market has defined what clean beauty requires a formula to contain or exclude. A brand can print clean on any product, at any price, with any ingredient list, and face no regulatory consequence whatsoever. What clean has become is a pricing mechanism, a label that commands a premium not because the formula behind it has been independently verified, but because the consumer has been taught to associate the word with safety, integrity, and a higher standard of care. The clean beauty market was estimated at over $11 billion globally by the mid-2020s and is growing. The brands selling into it are not uniformly dishonest. Some make genuinely thoughtful formulation decisions, but a significant number have built pricing structures, ingredient avoidance lists, and brand narratives on the architecture of fear rather than the foundation of evidence. By the end of this video, you will know which clean beauty brands are selling genuine formulation transparency and which ones are selling the most profitable four-letter word in the history of cosmetics. His audit examines 7 brands that operate under the clean beauty positioning across skincare, makeup, and wellness cosmetics, where the gap between the marketing claim and the formulation evidence is wide enough to warrant serious scrutiny. The evaluation criteria are consistent across all 7. Does the brand define what clean means for its products, in specific and verifiable terms? Are the ingredients it excludes actually harmful at cosmetic use levels according to independent toxicological review? Does the price per milliliter reflect formulation quality or fear-based positioning? And when you read the full ingredient list, not the campaign, what does the formula actually show? We move from the least problematic entry to the brand that, in this channel's assessment, represents the most complete example of clean, as a marketing architecture with the least formulation substance behind it. The final entry is one that significant numbers of buyers still consider a benchmark for clean beauty in 2026. Youth to the People was founded in 2015 by cousins Greg Gonzalez and Joe Cloyes in Los Angeles. The brand built its identity around superfood skincare, kale, spinach, green tea, and adaptogenic plant extracts positioned as the nutritional logic of clean beauty applied to the face. The branding is cohesive, the packaging is minimal, and the price positioning sits at the accessible end of the clean luxury tier. In 2021, L'Oreal acquired Youth to the People. The brand has maintained its positioning and ingredient philosophy post-acquisition. The Superfood Air Wash Salicylic Cleanser retails at approximately $42 per 200 ml. The formula contains salicylic acid at an effective concentration alongside plant-based extracts. The functional ingredients are sound. The superfood framing, however, implies that spinach and kale extract perform a nutritional function on skin that clinical evidence does not straightforwardly support at the concentrations present in a rinse-off cleanser. Nutrients applied topically in a product that washes off in 30 seconds do not function the way nutrients consumed in food function. The brand knows the science. The marketing speaks to a different audience. The concern here is mild relative to what follows on this list. The formula is competent. The superfood story is generous with its claims. At $42 for 200 millennials, the price is defensible. The clean positioning is the question. Biossance was founded in 2016 as a spin-off of Amyris, a biotech company based in Emeryville, California. The brand's central ingredient and founding concept is squalane, a skin-identical emollient derived at Biossance through sugarcane fermentation rather than shark liver oil, the traditional commercial source. That distinction is real, ethically relevant, and scientifically defensible. The squalane itself is genuinely effective. Amyris, the parent company, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2023. Biossance was subsequently sold as part of the bankruptcy proceedings. The squalane and omega repair cream retails at approximately 58 milliliters. The squalane concentration is not disclosed. The formula contains additional emollients, humectants, and a supporting cast of plant-derived ingredients. The clean positioning is built on the squalane origin story and an EWG Verified seal. The EWG Verified certification, cited across Biossance's marketing, is a paid certification issued by the Environmental Working Group, a non-profit advocacy organization. EWG Verified means a brand has paid for review and met EWG's internal standards. It is not a regulatory designation. It is not independent government oversight. It is a third-party certification from an organization with its own methodological perspective on ingredient safety, a perspective that is not always aligned with the consensus of independent toxicological review bodies. The buyer who sees EWG Verified and reads it as regulatory approval is reading something the label does not say. Herbivore Botanicals was founded in Seattle in 2011 by Julia Wills and Alexander Camaro. The brand is independently owned and built on a genuinely simple premise: botanical formulas and beautiful packaging at a price that reflects both. The jade rollers, the pink clay masks, the blue tansy oil. The product range is visually coherent and the aesthetic is executed with genuine care. The bakuchiol jasmine retinol alternative oil retails at approximately $54 for 30 milliliters, approximately $1.80 per milliliter. The marketing positions bakuchiol as a retinol alternative, gentler than retinol, equally effective, and clean where retinol is not. The clinical evidence for bakuchiol is real and growing. Published studies support its function as an antioxidant with some retinol-comparable activity at the cellular level. The studies are also smaller, shorter in duration, and less replicated than the decades of clinical research behind retinol. What the brand wants you to believe: that bakuchiol is a peer equivalent to retinol, making Herbivore's formula a clean upgrade on the clinical standard. What the evidence shows: bakuchiol is a promising and legitimate ingredient. It is not yet established as a clinical equivalent to retinol in the body of literature that dermatologists use to make treatment recommendations. Retinol alternative is a marketing phrase, not a clinical designation. The buyer who avoids retinol in favor of bakuchiol because retinol is not clean is making a decision based on the category the science does not recognize. These are not complicated. They take 3 minutes online before any purchase. 1. Ask the brand to define clean for its product specifically, not in general terms, not with brand values language. Ask what ingredients are excluded and why each one is excluded. If the answer is a vague philosophy rather than a specific, evidence-referenced list, the word clean is doing marketing work, not formulation work. 2. Research any ingredient on the brand's never list using an independent toxicology database, not the brand's are an explanation. CosIng, the European Commission's cosmetic ingredient database, and the US FDA's cosmetic ingredient safety database are publicly accessible. Most ingredients on most clean brand exclusion lists have been reviewed by independent regulatory bodies and found safe at cosmetic use levels. The question is not whether an ingredient sounds concerning. The question is what the independent evidence shows. 3. Check whether any certification the brand displays, EWG Verified, Made Safe, Leaping Bunny, or others, is a regulatory designation or a paid third-party certification. These are different categories of credibility. A paid certification from an advocacy organization is not equivalent to regulatory approval. Both can have value. They are not the same thing. 4. Calculate the price per milliliter and compare it to a non-clean formula with similar functional actives. If both formulas open with the same first 5 ingredients, the premium on the clean version is the word itself, not a meaningful formulation difference. 5. Ask what preservative system the brand uses. Every water-containing product requires a preservative to prevent microbial growth. Clean brands that exclude parabens, one of the most studied and safety-reviewed preservative systems in cosmetics history, must use something else. The alternatives they use are frequently less studied, more sensitizing for some populations, or present in higher concentrations to achieve equivalent preservation. The brand that replaces a well-documented ingredient with a less documented one for marketing reasons has not made a safety improvement. It has made a positioning decision. Ilia Beauty was founded in 2011 in Laguna Beach, California by Sasha Plavsic. The brand operates in the clean makeup tier, foundation, concealer, blush, and lip products positioned at the intersection of clean ingredients and clinical performance. The Super Serum Skin Tint SPF 40 retails at approximately $48. The packaging is elegant, the formulation language is precise, and the brand has achieved significant mainstream distribution. The SPF claim is where the audit begins. The Super Serum Skin Tint carries SPF 40 protection through a mineral filter, zinc oxide at a disclosed concentration of 19.9%. Mineral SPF at that concentration in a tinted formula creates a formulation challenge. Zinc oxide at cosmetically effective concentrations tends to leave a visible white cast, particularly on medium to deep skin tones. The brand has worked to address this, and the formula has improved across iterations. The serum designation in the product name implies active skincare ingredients at clinical concentrations. The formula does contain niacinamide, hyaluronic acid, and plant extracts. The concentrations are not disclosed. In a product that functions primarily as a tinted SPF, the serum framing is aspirational. The clinical serum is a secondary positioning. The tinted SPF is a product. At $48 for 30 ml, approximately $1.60 per milliliter, the price reflects a premium SPF makeup product with clean positioning. Whether the serum in the name reflects the formula or the aspiration is a question the ingredient list does not fully resolve. Tata Harper was founded in 2010 by Tata Harper and her husband Henry in Shoreham, Vermont. The brand operates its own farm in Vermont and manufactures on-site, a level of supply chain integration that is genuinely unusual in prestige skincare and represents a real operational commitment. The farm is real. Operational commitment. The Vermont production facility is real. The farm-to-face narrative is not a fabrication. The question is what the formula contains relative to the price. The rejuvenating serum retails at approximately $228 for 30 milliliters, approximately $7.60 per milliliter. The formula contains over 40 ingredients, predominantly botanical extracts, the concentrated plant materials the brand sources from its farm and vetted suppliers. The formula is complex. The concentrations of the functional actives within that complexity are not disclosed. Botanical extracts at cosmetic concentrations are, in many cases, present in amounts too small to produce the therapeutic effects associated with the plant in other research contexts. A formula containing 40 botanical extracts is not necessarily more effective than a formula containing 5 at higher concentrations. Complexity in an ingredient list can reflect genuine formulation depth. It can also reflect a strategy of length, a long list of recognizable natural ingredients that implies comprehensive efficacy without requiring clinical proof of each one at the concentration used. The Vermont farm is a compelling story. At $228 over 30 ml, the buyer is making a significant investment in that story, alongside whatever the formula delivers. The story is real. The clinical evidence for the formula at its price point is not published. Drunk Elephant was founded in Houston, 2012, by Tiffany Masterson. In 2019, Shiseido acquired the brand for $845 million. That acquisition price, for a brand less than 8 years old, with no manufacturing infrastructure and a product line built primarily on a specific ingredients philosophy, was one of the largest clean beauty transactions in category history. That philosophy is the Suspicious Six, a list of ingredients Drunk Elephant excludes from all products: essential oils, drying alcohols, silicones, chemical sunscreens, fragrances and dyes, and SLS. The brand's entire identity is organized around these 6 exclusions. The marketing language implies that these 6 ingredient categories are problematic for skin health, and that their absence makes Drunk Elephant formulas categorically superior. The clinical and toxicological evidence for excluding each of these categories at the concentrations used in cosmetics, as opposed to in occupational or industrial exposure, is significantly more nuanced than the brand's marketing presence. Silicones, for example, have an extensive safety record in cosmetics and are used in products across price tiers with consistent dermatological endorsement. Chemical sunscreens are regulated, tested, and widely endorsed by dermatological organizations globally. The Suspicious Six is a marketing framework. It is not a clinical classification. The Pertini polypeptide cream retails at approximately $68 for 50 milliliters. The formula contains signal peptides, a legitimate active ingredient category with published research support. The peptide concentration is not disclosed. The formula also contains several ingredients from the broader cosmetic base: emollients, humectants, film formers that are structurally similar to non-clean alternatives at lower price tiers. At $845 million, Shiseido was not primarily acquiring a formulation library. It was acquiring a marketing architecture. The Suspicious Six is worth approximately $845 million as a brand identity. As a clinical formulation framework, it is worth considerably less. Goop was founded by Gwyneth Paltrow in 2008 as a lifestyle newsletter. The Goop beauty line launched in 2016. By 2026, it had become one of the most premium clean beauty brands in the market, with a valuation that reflected celebrity founder positioning editorial authority over a significant wellness consumer segment, and a product line priced at the upper boundary of the clean luxury tier. The Detox Ultimate Detox Mask retails at approximately $98 for 50 ml in 8. The word detox in a skincare product name has no clinical definition. Skin does not detoxify in the way the liver or kidneys do. A clay mask applied to the face and rinsed off does not remove systemic toxins. It removes surface impurities and provides temporary occlusion. Clay masks have been used for this purpose for centuries at a fraction of this price point. The formula contains kaolin clay, bentonite clay, and a range of botanical extracts. These are functional cosmetic ingredients. Kaolin and bentonite are available in comparable formulas at $15 to $25 in the mass and mid-market tier. The differential between those formulas and the Goop mask is not formulation. It is brand architecture, editorial positioning, and the Paltrow halo. What the brand wants you to believe, that Goop Beauty represents the apex of clean, intentional beauty, where formulation decisions are made by someone with the discernment and access to demand the best ingredients, the most rigorous standards, and the most meaningful results. What the product shows, a clay mask at $98 for 50 ml built on ingredients available in the mass market with detox language that has no regulatory or clinical meaning, from a brand whose founder has been the subject of documented regulatory action by the FTC and the California Food, Drug, and Medical Device Task Force for other product claims in the same wellness ecosystem. The clean on a Goop product is the most expensive 4 letters in this category. The formulation behind it does not require the price to be what it is. The founder does. 7 brands. One unregulated word doing enormous commercial work. Clean beauty is not a standard, it is a sentiment. Brands that define clean, specifically, by published ingredient criteria, by verifiable third-party manufacturing standards, by disclosed active concentrations, are making a formulation argument. Brands that use clean as a positioning adjective without those specifics are making a marketing argument. The two arguments look identical on the shelf. The price tag treats them as if they are equivalent. They are not. Before the next purchase in this category, ask the brand what clean means specifically. Research the ingredients on any exclusion list independently. Calculate the price per milliliter against a non-clean formula with comparable actives. The formula that survives those 3 questions is the one worth the price. Drop in the comments which clean beauty brand genuinely changed how you read an ingredient list, and which one do you now read differently after this? Subscribe. The Luxury Audit does not carry sponsorships from brands in any category reviewed on this channel. Every product is assessed on formulation evidence, ingredient transparency, and price to value data. The word clean does not factor into the verdict unless the brand can define it. What a brand calls its product tells you how it wants to be perceived. What the ingredient list says tells you what the product actually is. This channel reads the second one.